Hello FlossTube, welcome to the scienceknitster channel. This is scienceknitster, Deb or Deborah. I go by scienceknitster on Instagram and on Ravelry. I used to have a Twitter account, but I just deactivated it. So this is a channel about my crafty things, mostly cross stitch, but occasionally some knitting, weaving, spinning. Today is all about cross stitch. So I don't have a ton of different things to show you since the last time I recorded, which is about a month ago. So I thought I would use this opportunity to show some of my stitched Christmas ornaments that I recently started in the past couple of years, started putting on a fake tree. I've never put them on real trees because I worry about sap from the tree getting on them. And so in the past, before I got this little tree, we used to wrap fake garland around our banisters at our house in Corpus Christi, and I would put them on that. But then I got this little tree and started using it instead. So those of you that are returning viewers, welcome back. All the new viewers, welcome. I've had quite a few new subscriptions in the last 2 months. We went over 300 subscribers for a brief time, but we're back under 300 again. But anyway, I usually start off, for those of you that are return viewers, I usually start off telling you what I'm drinking. So this is my favorite Christmas mug. It was a gift from someone quite a few years ago now. It is in the afternoon of December 18th. Had to think for a minute there. It's been a long week. December 18th is in the afternoon of December 18th. Late enough in the afternoon that I don't want to have more caffeine, so I'm drinking an herbal tea from Stash called Christmas Eve. And I'm this particular tea I actually have as loose tea. I do also get the tea bags for in the office because it's less messy. Excuse my slurp. So it has gotten quite cool again here. Yesterday, when I woke up, it was in the 40s. Considering it was still almost 80 the few days before that, that is quite cool. We seem to have these big fluctuations in temperature this time of year, depending on which way the wind is blowing and how far south the cold air from Canada gets. So let me start off with what I've been stitching on. I do actually have a new start, but I'm gonna show that sort of near the end, because today, in addition to my little ornament parade, I'm also going to talk just a little bit about the Jingle Ball. So I, since my last FlossTube, I worked a little bit on one of my Bright Needle pieces. This is a piece, Under the Sea by Bright Needle, that I started back in May of 2020 as part of the Mermania that I did. And so for Abby Bella Stitch's birthday, one of the things you could do to participate in her birthday sal was to, and I need to take this needle out of here because I don't know when I'll work on this again. One of the things you could do is work on projects with a mermaid. So, so Under the Sea has a mermaid. It was part of my Mermania. And I already had the mermaid and these things in here done. So I started working on these waves here so I could start putting in the houses and stuff up here. I didn't get very far because it was in late November when I worked on this. And actually, I think before I worked on this, I'm using, let's see, what is this? 32 count Sea Lily, I believe. I could not find the actual called for linen. And I'm using the called for DMC plus the specialty threads, and this is my mess of my threads. Some of them still need to be put on floss drops. So I did make a little bit of progress on that. So like I said, I was working on this part right here, so I could start putting in the houses and the boat. I guess they're all boat houses, houseboats, whatever. I'll probably pick this back up sometime in the new year. Okay, and actually before then, according to my book here, I actually worked on a piece that I don't have with me. A couple years ago, I started Bendy Stitchy's Turkey Trot. And so this year I finished the ribbon and started working on the pumpkin coach here. So hopefully next year, November, I will make more progress. And depending on what else I'm stitching, maybe I'll even finish it. Who knows? Probably not though, because I'm stitching on too many things already and planning to join all the stitch alongs. Maybe I should take Bendy Stitchy's idea and just call them start alongs, because I seem to start all the things and not finish as many things as I would like. Okay, so let me wait on that one too. Okay, so around the 25th of November, for a couple of days, I worked on Feliz Navidad by Blackbird Designs. I'm using the called for threads and linen, 36 count Legacy by Picture This Plus. And let me make sure I have something behind this. So I actually am filming in my apartment in Brownsville in a slightly different location than I normally do, because I was hoping you could see more of my tree, but whatever. Okay, so I got more of the border in and some more stuff down here in mainly this piece down here. I already had that, most of this in, I believe. And then also started down here so I could have a place to count off of for some of the other things around here. I think I'm going to try to get all of the, was hoping to get this done this year. Let's see, but I'm not sure because I'm working on too many things, but we'll see. Yeah, I was hoping to get this done before the end of the year. I'm not sure I will, but my plan is to finish all the cross stitch. There are some specialty stitches down here, and some are Smyrnas and some are eyelets. And I think for the eyelets, I want to actually put this in Q snaps or on a scroll frame and work two-handed to make sure that the eyelets come out nicely. Okay. I'm going to be lazy and not show you the threads. It's all the called for weeks dye works. Okay, let me put this back. But I will definitely work on this. It's been my Merry 25 piece for several months. So I will definitely, if I don't get it out before then, I will definitely get it out Christmas Day. Although I might have a new start that day too. Who knows? Okay, and then I also have been working on Hands Across the Sea, Rose Ada Featherstone. This was an exclusive from Hobby House Needleworks. And this was another one I was hoping to finish by the end of the year, but I just don't think that's going to happen. Because right now I just feel in the mood to stitch Christmas and winter things. So I have made some good progress since the last time I showed this. So I finished the house and got more of the border in, but I still have quite a ways to go. And so I'm thinking I may not work on this again before the end of the year. Here's the threads. So this is 40 count antique lace. This was a kit that I bought from Hobby House. And this is their overdyed conversion. A lot of times I'll do an overdyed conversion, but they had already done one. So I decided to try theirs and see what I thought of it. So far, so good. I've got most of my pieces, I put in those clear bags that you can get from Amazon. In fact, that's where I get them from. And I got the idea from Nicole's Needlework, I think. Or my friend Susan, or both. I'm not sure I remember at this point. But this particular one, I have it in a bag by Dancing Sheep. And this was actually a bag that was part of a Just Add Needles kit that she used to do with stick chick knits. And there's some knitting I really want to get to, but work has been crazy lately. So I said I want to talk just a little bit about the Jingle Ball. I did register for the Jingle Ball because I thought, things would be kind of quiet. And yes, it was, the end of the semester stuff, but I figured I'd at least have the weekend to do my own thing. However, my spouse has been having some issues with his vehicle, so I've been driving back and forth to our house in Corpus Christi. Part of the time I had a rental car and I had to return it, and it was crazy. That weekend was particularly crazy. So basically, for those of you that are newer viewers, I am currently working at a college in Brownsville, Texas, but my spouse lives and has a business. He's a flower farmer in Corpus Christi, Texas, which is about 2.5 hours away. So I try to go up on the weekends when I can, or he comes down here sometimes. So anyway, I was traveling up there more than I normally do. And, 2.5 hours each way takes time. And so between that and work being pretty busy, so I would get home in the evening wherever I was and often fall asleep over my stitching. So not a whole lot of stitching was getting done in the evenings. Anyway, so I'm also moving, because I'm moving back to Corpus Christi, which I will talk about more in the new year. But so I'm moving back to Corpus Christi. So as I was going back and forth, I was like, well, I need to pack up some stuff and take stuff with me. So there isn't as much to move at the end of the month. And so instead of participating in meet and greets and stitching tables, I ended up basically watching a lot of the exclusive entertainment, which was very entertaining actually, while I was packing or stitching in the evenings. And I did get a chance to be on one of the stitching tables on Sunday morning when the whole thing was supposed to be over. I just got on to, check the shop one more time, like, did I get everything I had planned to get? And noticed that there was a little posting saying, there's basically, we can't get these people to stop using the stitching table, the Zoom stitching table. So I popped in there for about 45 minutes, maybe an hour. I would have stayed longer, but I had a family Zoom that same morning. So, I got to meet a few stitchers, and got to talk with them a little bit, and we shared what we were working on. And I was actually working on that weekend. I had decided, in honor of the ball, that I would work on Lindy Stitch's Merry Manatee. So this was another one that I started in my Mermania back in 2020. Because, manatees, actually, it's thought that manatees at least I read somewhere, and I don't remember the source now, but at the time it seemed like a fairly reliable source, that like things like seals and manatees and walruses might have been the original inspiration for mermaids. I guess some of those sailors out at sea for long periods of time, their eyesight got a little off. So I finished the baby manatee, and I was hoping to finish the mama manatee, or at least the main body of the mama manatee, but I wanted to work on Rosetta and see if I felt like I could get her finished. So didn't quite get this finished. And I did actually work on this for about a week after the Jingle Ball. So not this past week, but the first full week of December is what I'm trying to say. So I'm using the called for threads for the most part. I think the yellow was supposed to be an over dye, and with so little of it, I decided to use the DMC instead, since I had both. And then the model was stitched on 28 count Picture This Plus sterling, and I'm actually stitching it on 28 count. Actually, it was 32 count. I tell a lie. I'm stitching it on 28 count Picture This Plus Ariel because that's what I had in my stash at the time. And as everybody knows, Picture This Plus can be hard to get hold of sometimes. So I've made some progress on that. This was another one I was hoping to finish this year. So I may get this out again. It depends. I need to line up my Christmas stuff and decide what am I going to work on and try to finish. What's the closest one to being finished, and maybe focus on that. But I also, right around Christmas Day, I like to, between Christmas and New Year's, I like to stitch something. Usually I pick a chart from one of my just cross stitch Christmas ornament issues, not necessarily the current one, but I have them. Well, actually, I have them all now, either paper or on DVD. But I started collecting them about 2001, 2002. I don't have them here with me. I took them up to Corpus Christi on one of my trips, so I couldn't tell you exactly which one I have the physical copies. So now I said I had a new start. It is also related to the Jingle Ball. So the Jingle Ball, there were some, excuse me, now I need some water. Okay, so during the Jingle Ball, there was also some things you could buy, and one of them was this booklet. You could either buy a physical one or a PDF, and I elected to get a PDF because I didn't want to wait. Jingle Bell Baubles. I can't remember if, I know a lot of the things that were exclusive, or at least exclusive during the ball, will be released later, and I just don't know how long. I don't remember how long the exclusivity lasts, but so there were 12 designers that were part of this, and they had, some of them had classes. I obviously did not sign up for any of the classes. I knew I was going to have time for classes, but I thought I was going to have time for some of the other stuff. So I decided that I really wanted to start this one. This was by the Blue Flower, Janine of the Blue Flower, and it's a giraffe in a Christmas sweater. There we go. Called Tall Treat, or Tall Treats, Tall Treat. I think it's Tall Treat. And it's stitched on a 40 count linen, and I didn't have anything around that count in the right color, either with me or at all. I think at all. But I happen to have this Ada that was a very similar color, at least based on the picture, to that linen. So this is going to be bigger than her ornament, but it's still going to be, you know, not a huge ornament size. So I'm using the called for DMC, except I couldn't find my ecru when I wanted to start this. I just need to buy more. At some point I had like a bajillion Blanc and a bajillion ecru, and you know, so I stopped buying it, and now I can't find it. I did finally find one in an ecru in a piece that I started back in 2020 that I really do want to finish. It's the Millennial Sampler from the Embroidery Guild of America's magazine, and I do want to finish it. I really do. I do. So I left the ecru in there just in case, you know, if I had to buy a new one and it didn't quite match, you know, because DMC isn't always, it used to be, but apparently it does not stay the same from batch to batch anymore. So the greens are DMC, so is the red. But instead of ecru, I decided to use eggshell by Classic Colorworks, and then for the sort of the medium brown and the tan, I'm using Gentle Arts. The medium brown is cinnamon, and the tan is, I'm gonna draw blank. It is, I wrote it down. And actually I have the threads right here, so I could just look. Okay, let me see. Lamb's wool. I don't know why I couldn't remember that, but I think it's looking pretty good. I was actually hoping to finish this today before I recorded. However, I've been packing and sorting and cooking, you know, getting dinner in my Instant Pot, using it as a slow cooker. So I had Zoom with my family this morning. So but anyway, I hope to work on this some more tonight and maybe even finish it this week. So that could be my, you know, Christmas season ornament, but it probably won't. I'll work on something else. So those are all the things that I've worked on since my last FlossTube. But I thought next I'd show some haul. I'm not going to show all my haul because a lot of it is PDFs from the Jingle Ball, and I don't remember which things are exclusive and which things. It was really nice. Some of the designers did things like certain of their patterns. Certain of their patterns they had discounts on. So there was a shop, for those of you that didn't participate, they had a shop where you could purchase things. Some of the designers you could buy, most of them you could buy PDFs. Each of them did an ornament in that Jingle Ball Baubles book, and so each of them did that, and then they all each did at least one exclusive. And I don't know, like I said, I'm not sure when those will be released. I remember seeing somewhere, or at least some of the designers mentioned when they would be releasing those to the public, but my understanding was they were going to be exclusive to Jingle Ball for a certain period of time. I just don't remember the period of time. Okay. So what have I gotten? So I'm going to actually start with my Jingle Ball related stuff and then go from there. So I already showed you the thing that I'm stitching from the Jingle Ball baubles. So I bought the Jingle Ball baubles, and I tried to buy at least a little something from each of the designers. Some I purchased more. I didn't, at first I was thinking, well, maybe I should get the exclusive from each of them. But for some of them, the exclusive was something, and a lot of them, maybe all of them had freebies too. I can't remember. And the freebies, if it wasn't something I thought I was going to stitch, I didn't download it. And then for the exclusives, although I did buy something from everyone, I didn't necessarily buy their exclusive if it was, again, something I didn't think I was going to stitch. And the set of designers, it was the Blue Flower, Erica Michaels, Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. And that's when I had seen their stuff. It's like probably in Just Cross Stitch Ornament issue and people posting on Instagram, but I had never purchased from them before. And then Hands On Design, Heartstring Samplery, Lindy Stitches, Ink Circles. Those I had all. I had some of their stuff in my stash already. Noteworthy Needle was another one I hadn't purchased from before. Satsuma Street, again, I'd seen their stuff but hadn't purchased. Although I do have one of their pieces because my guild down here is working on that for a project. Then Summer House Stitchworks, I had some of their PDFs that I had purchased in the past, and some of their freebies from online. Tiny Modernist, another one I'd seen some of their stuff but hadn't purchased from them before. And then Teresa Kogut, who obviously I have seen her stuff in Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher, and actually, am I working on any of her things? I think I've kitted up some stuff from there, but hadn't actually started any of her things. And I think I've purchased some of her stuff, maybe from my local needle workshop, which is closed. One of the designers, Summer House Stitchworks, I think one of their things that I wanted to buy was only available, or maybe all of them. I can't remember. There were some designers that didn't really do PDFs, so they made arrangements with other designers to people to purchase their PDFs or something. Or maybe that was for international stitchers. Anyway, Summer House Stitchworks, I can't remember, like I said, I can't remember if it was because there was one of their charts I wanted that was only available on paper. I decided to go ahead and order their stuff on paper. And I think this one was the exclusive, Wear Your Woolies. And then I thought this one was pretty, We Gather Together. And then this was the one I had to have, Rose Air Blooming. Those of you that are longtime viewers know that one of my favorite Christmas carols is this one. So I had to get this one. And plus I love the colors. I'm not sure when I'm gonna start this, but it's gonna happen sometime. And then she very nicely put in a freebie also. Okay, what else did I get? The Bird Crush came. So like I said, I tried to buy something from all the other designers. I think there's one more that I ended up buying it on paper. Everything else I bought PDFs. If there was another one. Like for Tiny Modernist, I purchased, I think maybe her exclusive, and then she also had a mystery stitch along. And well, let's just say I kind of suck at mystery stitch alongs. I usually wait until the whole thing's released before I start it. I don't know. I just like to see the whole thing before I start it. But from what I could see, it looked interesting, and actually I probably would have started that instead of Tall Treats by the Blue Flower. However, I had actually kitted up that one before I went to Corpus Christi the weekend of the Jingle Ball. And or mostly kitted it up. I like put everything I had in there. And I was getting ready to get out some, actually I think it was some Lugana. I had some Lugana I was going to use for the mystery stitch along, because the last part came out yesterday. So it's like, okay, I can start it now. And then I realized, oh, last weekend when I went up, I took all my linen. I do still have some of my Ada here because it just didn't fit in the bin I was putting all the linen and other fabrics. So it's like, oh, I gotta wait until I go back to Corpus before I can start that one. So I may or may not start that one over the holidays. We'll see. Let's not talk about the one I didn't actually start. So let's see. There was the one last year that Luminous Fiber Arts did, although that one, I think that might have been started in July, might have been a Christmas in July thing. So I started that one. We won't talk about how long ago I worked on it. And then, and before that, there was the one Brenda Gervais did, the Christmas of 2020. Have I finished that one? And then there's another one. Last year, Hands On Design came out with that cookie cutter exchange one. And I things were so busy, I didn't have time to start that one. I think there's another one. Oh, and I did the, who is it? Sapphire Mountain Stitchery, I think is her business name. She does the book clubs. She did one for A Christmas Carol last year, the year before. I can't remember now when it was. That might have been 2 years ago. I finished that one. So those are among the things that I need to get out and see how far along am I, which one am I, and a few other things. Which one am I closest to finishing, and maybe finish some things, and then actually do some finishing. We'll see about that. Okay, so I said the Bird Crush Club came. So this is the last one. And I did miss the first several, and Stephanie Blindy Stitches said she was going to be releasing them next year, presumably like once a month, so it would release a year after it came out to the club, so I can pick up. It's the first, I think 3. I think I wasn't able to get into the club until April. Definitely April, maybe March, but I'm pretty sure it was April. Anyway, everybody should have theirs now, but if you're in the club and you're overseas and didn't get it yet, turn away. I'll tell you when it's safe to turn back. I will not say the name of the bird. This is the actual picture of the bird, so you can see that's the name of the bird, and this is Stephanie's rendition of it. Okay, it's safe to look. Then there was another, so it's not safe to look. Turn away again if you don't want to be, if you didn't get your package yet and you want to be surprised. So there was another little extra if you'd been in the club most of the year. So, and this is it. Okay, now it's safe to look again. So I have started none of these, but I do want to stitch them, and I kind of like to have a bird wall. So I think I've mentioned my plan is to stitch these so that they'll fit in a hoop and do hoop finishes on each of them. I figured that would be relatively easy and inexpensive to do. Okay, what else? two more things. So I mentioned last time that Needleberry Stitcher had tagged me, and actually she was one of the folks that was in the at the stitching table that last Sunday, well, the Sunday after the Jingle Ball officially ended. So I got a chance to actually talk to her in real time. Anyway, I had watched one of her videos, and she showed this chart by Silver Creek Samplers, and I have a few of their things, and I just thought I really loved the sentiment. It says, your greatness is not in what you have, but in what you give. And then I just thought the whole thing was really cute with the snowmen. I love snowmen. So I had to get this one. And I hadn't yet ordered my book of days. And I was ordering a few other things from the Fat Quarter Shop. Some quilty things, which I left in Corpus Christi for obvious reasons. So these came in that same box. And so I'm ready for next year with my book of days. So I think that's all the haul that I'm going to show. But I did buy, like I said, I bought at least a little something from everybody who was part of the Jingle Ball, all the designers. But I'm not going to show you all of those because it would be more than 12 things. At some point, I should probably maybe do a parade of my PDF charts because I tend to forget about those. And for example, I also bought a couple of things from Luminous Fiber Arts. Actually, let me go ahead and show those because I've been stitching this, some of the others in this set. Luminous Fiber Arts. So somehow I didn't have this one yet. A Turkey's Thanks. So I had done a Bluebird Salute. What was the Valentine's one? I forget the Valentine's one. So I'd done the Valentine's one and the Valentine's one. The Bluebird Salute. There was another one that I did. The Easter one, A Robin's Discovery. So I did a Turkey's. I didn't have a Turkey's Thanks yet, so I went ahead and got that, and a Cardinal's Carol. I thought I had this one on paper, but apparently not, because I thought I had bought it from Judy's Stitchery Nook, who is closed. So I actually thought about kitting this one up, but then, like I said, I didn't have everything here. So I went ahead and started A Tall Treat. Okay, so I said I would do an ornament parade. So I've already taken like everything from the back of the tree and the side. I already took those off. Where I know what the designer, a lot of these I've stitched, it's been 20 years since I've stitched them, and I may or may not remember the designer. Some are more like Lizzie Kate's pretty distinctive. Heart in Hand is pretty distinctive. Some of them are designers that aren't designing anymore. But anyway, some of them were freebies. A lot of them are either from Just Cross Stitch Ornament issue or Just Cross Stitch. So let me go ahead and show you some of these. So some of these, a lot of these are on Ada, because I would just pick up whatever I had in my stash. And some of these are on Nicer Linen because I was part of a club for a couple years that Ginger's Needle Arts, Quilting and Framing did, called Ginger Snaps. I was in that for 2 or 3 years. Have I stitched them all? No. Have I rated them for the DMC and the overdyes? You bet. This was one of them. And I wish I could remember the designer. Do not remember the designer. I stitched this in, looks like 2003, maybe 2005. It was probably, I think I was in Ginger Snaps like 2003 and 2004, or 2004, 2005. I don't quite remember. Anyway, so it was in that like 2002, 2003, 2004, or maybe 2005, 2006 on the outside, possibly. Not this one. Some of them. That this was from one of those. I know this was from an Ornament issue because it was part of Ginger Snaps. I know that for sure. Most of these were finished for me by my friend Susan. A lot of them I had done through Ginger, and at the time I had them done, Susan was doing a lot of their finishing. And some of them she did for me later. Okay, this one I'm almost positive was Elizabeth's Designs. I did a little like designer focus on her last year. I forget exactly when, but I used to get a lot of her stuff, and she used to be a regular in the Just Cross Stitch Ornament issue. And I know this is from one of those. This was stitched in 2002. So 2002 is the latest it would have been in, might have been 2001. Unfortunately, I do not remember the designer on this one. I want to say it might have been a Canadian designer. I don't know. I might be confusing this with another one that I'm thinking of that has a moose in it that I have kitted up, but I never stitched. So this is another one. I know it's from an Ornament issue, but I just don't remember exactly what year. 2002 is when I stitched it. A lot of these were stitched in 2002, 2003. I was trying to stitch like an ornament a month back in those days, which I've been thinking I need to do again. Find some small ones that I could easily do. You know, like this one from the Blue Flower. I could easily have, if I'd spent more time. That wasn't packing. I'm sure I could have finished it this weekend. This is another one. I know it is from a Just Cross Stitch Ornament issue. I stitched it in 2003, so that's the latest it would be from. All the fabrics are fabrics I had in my stash because I'm also a quilter. So this is another one from our Just Cross Stitch issue. I do not remember the designer on this one. Another one I know is from the Just Cross Stitch, and another one I do not remember the designer. See the back. This one I know is Lizzie Kate. It was a freebie. Oh shoot, I meant to look and see. I know at least like a year or two ago, she still had a website where she had a lot of her freebies still up, and this one was still available then. I don't know if that website still exists, but and then although this obviously is like cocoa, I don't know, I just liked this fabric, so I had Susan put that on the back. She did a little fussy cutting for me. I'm blanking on who the designer is on this one. I want to say it's Heart in Hand, but don't quote me on it. This is from 2000, and I stitched this in 2003, so it might be from that issue, or it might be from 2001 or 2002. Yeah, another Just Cross Stitch. I know this one was from Just Cross Stitch. Now this one, I'm not sure, but I think that I had several ornaments. I've actually stitched more than I have here, but over the years I've given some away. And for several years Glory B, B-E-E, had stuff either in the cross stitch ornament issue or had freebies that that Ginger would give out when you purchase things. And I can't remember if this was one of those or if it was from a Just Cross Stitch issue, or maybe don't think this was heart in hand, but it could be because of hearts. I'm not sure. And then one of my favorite, I still have little pieces of this fabric left, but it's little gingerbread. Okay, I love gingerbread. This one, I'm pretty sure is Country Cottage. If it's not Country Cottage, it's Little House Needleworks. And it is definitely from a Just Cross Stitch issue. I stitched this one in 2008, so it's either 2008 or older. This was one of those that I stitched around the holiday time. And this is actually a flannel that I had that I thought the colors went nicely. And this is another one, I'm pretty sure it was either Country Cottage or Little House. I'm almost positive that this was not from the 2008. It was from an Ornament issue. Almost positive not 2008, but an earlier one. But I stitched it obviously in 2008. And then this one might be Sam Sarah, the just another button company, their design, Sam Sarah Studio, something like that. So I stitched this or finished it in 2003. So it's either 2003 or earlier Ornament issue. Definitely from the Ornament issue. Okay, let me pull some more off the tree here. Okay, this one I know for absolute positive sure is Erica Michaels, and from one of the cross stitch, Just Cross Stitch issues. This was I finished this one in 2005, so it was either 2005 or earlier. Probably, it might be 2004. It was definitely from when I was in the Ginger Snaps Club. And Ginger always kitted them up with the called for materials whenever possible. So this is all the called for materials. And then this one I know is a heart in hand from Just Cross Stitch or a freebie, but I know for sure heart in hand. Almost positive it was from Just Cross Stitch. I don't remember if it was 2005 or earlier, but the latest it could be is 2005. And then this on the back. Another one of my Christmas fabrics that I had in my stash at the time. So definitely heart in hand. Okay. Gingerbread. Had to do this one. Trying to remember who the designer is, and I am drawing a blank. Outside possibility, it's Lizzie Kate, but don't quote me on it. I'm thinking that just because of the way the alphabet is, but that was probably a pretty common font, however you want to say it in those times. And you can see my favorite fabric. I loved it so much. I had Susan do it on the front as well as the back, which makes this a rather large. I probably shouldn't have done that because it would be exactly the right size for a little tree without that. It's a little big for a tree. In fact, oftentimes this one ends up like on a doorknob, or we have a little sort of, it's probably really a nightstand with 3 drawers in our foyer to like put keys and stuff in. And it will often hang off the knobs on that when it's in Corpus Christi. Keeping with the gingerbread theme, this was a Just Cross Stitch Ornament issue. It was one of the Ginger Snaps. I stitched this in 2000, or finished it in 2008. But I'm pretty sure it was well before that, because I'm positive this was, well, I'm almost positive this was a Ginger Snaps one, because it's on linen. But I really love gingerbread, so I'm probably at this point had a lot of linen in my stash, so I might not have, this might actually be from 2008, but definitely no later than 2008. Noel, I'm pretty sure this is Heart in Hand, definitely from a Just Cross Stitch issue. This one I stitched in 2004, so it's 2004 or earlier. So if you have that DVD with all of them, you can start with 2004 and see what Heart in Hand had in there. I'm almost positive this one is Little House Needleworks. If it's not Little House, it's Country Cottage. So here's one. This was not a ginger snap. It was just one that I pulled out because I thought it was cute. 2005 is when I stitched it, so it's 2005 or earlier from Just Cross Stitch, either, like I said, Little House or Country Cottage. Here's another one that is, I'm almost positive this one's Country Cottage. When did I stitch this one? Looks like 2008, maybe. So either 2008 or earlier. And I actually, this one has sort of a long, this might be one that I finished while I was at Susan's house. Like, she led me through the finishing process. There's a couple like that. But the hanger is a bit long, so and it was hanging down the tree too long, so I just put a little knot in it to make it a little bit shorter. And then the last one that's actually on the tree that I stitched is this one here. I stitched this one for my spouse because he loves penguins. Let's see, it looks like I did it in 2005, and I'm pretty sure that this is another one that I was, with Susan, and she led me through the finishing because I wanted it finished for my spouse. But this is if I didn't say, this is a Lizzie Kate. This one is not from a Just Cross Stitch Ornament issue. I'm pretty sure this one is from one of her Tiny Tidings. I just don't remember which one. I have several of them, and some of them I collected later. A lot of her stuff is still available, even though she's not designing anymore. A lot of her stuff is still available from 123 Stitch. My understanding is they are the only ones that carry her stuff. She has some kind of exclusive with them. Anybody else who has her stuff, like, they're the only ones that can still get her stuff, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Other shops may have it because they, ordered it before she stopped designing. Speaking of Lizzie Kate, this is one of her little, forget what she called them, that goes on these little sleds that you stitch on perforated paper. And I don't remember the name of this one, but it's one of the ones she released in the few years before she stopped designing. And then I have a few other ornaments that I got in exchanges. This one, I can't remember if I got this one in an exchange when I was in Virginia, or if this is from Austin. I'm pretty sure. Oh, I don't know. I'm not going to say because I just don't remember. It's been a while. And then this is from last year's ornament exchange with the Tudor Rose Sampler Guild. Very beautiful. That is stitched over one on like 40 count or something, a high count. I couldn't do it. It's beautiful. And then this one I know I got in an ornament exchange in 2020. from my local guild here, Tip of Texas, and Judy from Judy's Stitchery Nook was the one that stitched this one. And she stitched it on perforated paper and finished it on, I liked how she actually put, you know, it was EGA, the year, Tip of Texas, and then she wrote Merry Christmas and her name on the back. And I think this is a cute way to finish it. And I think that's all my ornaments. So those are all my ornaments. Excuse me here while I'm out of the frame momentarily. So the last thing I have to show, I could have had it finished as an ornament, but I actually had it, Susan finished this for me as a little easel back. So it can sit, I collect nativities, and I now collect charts of nativities, but I have several nativities, and so I wanted this to be with my collection of nativities. So I had her do it as a little easel back. So I thought I had my ornament parade. Now I have a little chart parade of some of the nativities that I've collected over the years. It's not a ton. I'm surprised I don't have more. I think I do actually have more, but most of them are from magazines that I don't have here, or books. A lot of the nativities I would want to stitch were from those annual Christmas books that came out from, well, various publishers over the years, but started out, I think, like with Better Homes and Gardens, and then various publishers who like bought out each other. Excuse me, carry it on. So some of these have been out for a few years. Some of these I actually did not purchase originally myself, but picked up at retreats, or, you know, like people would have a table where they were giving things away or selling them very inexpensively, or at at a guild meeting where they were doing something similar. So probably the newest, one of the newer ones I have, I haven't, although actually I did recently purchase a nativity from Cosford Rye Stitcher. I think I showed it either in my last FlossTube or the one before then. But this is one by Erica Michaels. And it's not a traditional nativity, but obviously it's meant to be, because it's like a manger with the baby, but just the animals, not the Holy Family. So it's called Humbly Born by Erica Michaels. So that's really cute. And there it says at the bottom, the friendly beasts around him stood, Jesus, our brother, kind and good. And next to the animals it says, humbly born in a stable rude. So sorry, didn't want to take it out of the bag. And then here's another one. I actually I know I have the linen somewhere, but I got some of the accessories that you need. So this one is by Homespun Elegance, and I think they're not designing anymore, but don't quote me. We will adore him. Again, not a traditional like Holy Family, but all the animals. So this the model was stitched on 20 count linen, natural 20 count linen, which I'm sure I had, probably one of the Ubers ended up on it, but it's easy to get 20 count linen. Okay. Oh, then this one was a kit that I bought actually while I was going through chemotherapy back in 2007, 2008. And this one, yeah, it came out in 2007. So this is, let me move the thread pack to the back, thread and bead pack to the back. I don't have the linen for this, but this is, let me just take it out of the back. This is to have the bag open. So this is by the Victoria Sampler. And it's called the Heirloom Nativity Sampler. It's the 9th in their Heirloom series. So you can see. And it's got some hardanger down here. And I have done some hardanger. Not a lot. And there's several hardanger pieces that I would love to do. I have and would love to do, but there's only so many hours in the day. And my problem is every craft I've tried, I like. Okay, here's another one. I'm not sure when I picked this one up. This is from 2008, Simple Stitches, designed by Casey Ogg, called Away in the Manger. That looks like it might be full coverage. Oops. So there you go. And this one is mainly overdyes, looks like. And there is just another button company button right here, which I have not purchased. And then this one, I'm pretty sure is one that I purchased from Ginger's. It's Marilyn and Jackie's Collectibles, and it's from, so this picture is supposed to go here, but it fell off. I don't see a copyright date. Anyway, it's the Nativity and ABCs. And there's the picture. Definitely would need to make a working copy of that one and blow it up. And then a couple more. Again, not, this one is not a traditional nativity, but and it uses just another button company buttons, kind of like the other one that I have. But this one is from Shepherd's Bush, called Star. And this one is from 2005. Oops. So I don't know if it is still available or not. You know, since they have their own store, it might be. You could contact them. Then this one, I'm sure that I picked this one up like from a freebie table or something. And while I was looking at it, I realized it's not actually a nativity. It's like the background for a nativity, and you're supposed to get the Madonna, the Holy Family sculpted pieces to go with it. So I probably will never stitch this one because I don't have those sculpted pieces. And then I do actually have a couple of needlepoint nativities. I know I have one that it's either just the Madonna and Child by Carol Lake, who's a designer in Austin. I know her from the guilds in that area. She was very active there. I presume, knowing Carol, she probably still is, as much as her health allows her to be. But she did one, it was counted, like it wasn't painted canvas, it was counted, and like she had drawn an outline, and then she had a stitch guide that goes with it. And I think she called it Royal David City. And I have a kit, and like for several years I intended to get it out at Christmas time and start it. In fact, like a couple of years I actually got it out and then never started it, but I still would like to do that one. And then from several years ago, Needlepoint Now had this triptych of the Nativity. This one, these are, so Needlepoint Now published the stitch guides, but there's actually 3 painted canvases you would need to buy, which I have not done. Whether they're still available, I do not know, but if they are, I wouldn't mind stitching those. So that's my nativity. I'd be interested to hear if other stitchers out there that watch my channel are interested in nativity charts or other like specific themes within the holidays that are around this time of year, not just Christmas, but Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and you know, if there's particular themes or motifs from those holidays that you're interested in, and if you are like me, you like to collect nativities, not necessarily stitch them, but collect them. If there are any charts that you've come across that you really like, please share. Anyway, I think that's it. Oh, I have one more thing. I haven't really done anything sciencey in a long time, so I did want to do something, a little science corner at the end here that is applicable to the season. So a lot of people like to have poinsettias out this time of year. Here's a poinsettia. And so I just wanted to explain the botany of poinsettias a little bit. So people think of these red things as flowers. They're actually what a botanist would call an inflorescence, which is a group of flowers. The actual flowers are, I don't know if you can see in here, but these the little yellow and red things in the center here, each one of those is a flower. And the parts here that you might think are red petals are actually what are called bracts, B-R-A-C-T-S. They are modified leaves. So if you look lower down, you'll see that the leaves of, which you can't see on mine because it's not high enough, but the leaves of the poinsettia look just like these things that we might think are the petals of the flowers. But bracts are modified leaves that you would find around an inflorescence. So these individual things here are the flowers. This is an inflorescence, and these are bracts. So you can astound your friends and relatives with your botanical knowledge at the holiday table if there is a poinsettia there. So thank you for spending your time with me. I hope you enjoyed what I showed you. And thanks again to all the new subscribers. And thank you to those of you that have been longtime subscribers. Thank you for sticking it out and coming back. I hope everyone has a wonderful holidays, whatever holidays you celebrate this time of year. And I hope, I know this time of year can be especially hard for many people, especially those that are alone or have lost loved ones recently. So I just want to say, just remember to be kind to yourself. Know that, you know, your stitching community is here for you, and take time to be kind to yourself, and please be kind to your neighbors. Bye.